Hi there. Good day to you. Is it possible to lose awakening even though remaining as presence? What can one do to lose the ego? Um, okay, I read it as a whole sentence, but I'm assuming there are two different questions. Is it possible to lose awakening? Uh, the question doesn't really make any sense. We're born, life is awake, and what are we but life? So, how can that ever be lost? uh, and remaining as presence is also doesn't make any sense at all. Um, who would remain as presence, and how? What would be the difference between someone who remains as presence and the presence? Yeah, again, life and presence. So if we are life, why would life have any need to remain as presence? What can one do to lose the ego? Um, So the ego, just to be clear, what we're talking about, uh, the way I use the term is that it's that which is concerned with how we're seen, yeah, how we're viewed by others. That preoccupation, uh, I mean, I guess it becomes self-explanatory if you think about ego like that, then what would you say to someone who's asking you, how can I uh, not be preoccupied with how others see me? Yeah. Basically, it's something that's not natural. So anything that's not natural is constantly being deconstructed, you could say, anyway, by events. Yeah. So if you uh, bang your head against the wall about something, some issue comes up in your life, some relationship thing, job thing, anything, an accident, whatever. Um, m- Much of the time, they are like signals to uh, reflect on something, or all these things are spontaneous. Yeah, they're not things we have to do, or simply to shock us out of some ego patterns. Yeah. So we don't really have, like, life does it anyway. You know what I mean? um, yeah. But one thing I would say, like, we all feel like common sense, it's common sense that by nature we don't want to have a concern with how we are seen. Yeah, the concern with how we are seen generates a constant effort to create images of ourselves. Yeah, that's like, it's like trying to keep something in time that's fluid. It's like some action, trying to turn an action into a noun. Yeah, a verb into a noun, like an action into a thing. Okay, that's what we're constantly preoccupied with. That's the the self-importance that kind of stands in the way of just living a to naturally live. So I think it's common sense that we don't want to, that it there's like a sense of embarrassment about being preoccupied with how others see us. It's quite a weak thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's to ourselves. It's like a by nature we are like self-contained, you could say. Yeah, we had, like, integrity is there, self-respect is there, everything is intact. So there's a natural, if there is like a pattern of being concerned about what other people think or how others see us, then then there's also a natural response to that, which is that we don't want that. So there's not really a how. It's more a matter of firmness. Yeah. our life energy, you could say, is our will also. So it depends where you want to put your energy. Yeah, this kind of language, yeah, awakening and losing awakening, having awakening, getting awakening, or remaining as presence. It's all kind of spiritual talk, and it's really a whole bunch of confusion. It makes things seem kind of special. Yeah, they're kind of yeah. It's the whole lingo of how this subject gets talked about is quite laden. Yeah, that's quite easy to see. Um, there's not much. I mean, to our own common sense, like some sober take on it, our own sober feeling about the whole thing is very different to these kind of exalted terms. Yeah, unless we're trying to find that, unless we want something special, unless we basically want to be seen as special. So that will be this concern with how others, how we are seen. Yeah, there's a lot, far too much dogma about this, and there's a whole lot of making it something that it's not. We're just talking about our natural state, the natural condition. Yeah, and that the reason that we even talk about it is because there is such a, like, a context within which we live, uh, which is counter that. You could say there's a human made context which is based on self importance, and that's how we have organized ourselves as societies. You could say, yeah. I'm obsessed with the Advaita, Taoism, Ramana Maharishi, etc. spirituality, and somehow I connect that to what you're speaking of. I mean, each thing has its heart, yeah, heart of truth. You could say, like the heart of the matter, the core of it. So all world religions, all they all have some, right. If Jesus talks about love, that's really the essence. That's all there is, really. So Taoism talks about the way of nature. Taoism is probably, I would say, the most neutral of all of them, um, because it disregards the human centered view of the world, which is really the crux of it, of the issue. Advaita, it just means not two things. Yeah, very simple. Ramana Maharishi, yeah, if there's something you read about him or something that you find useful, then why not? But yeah, it's just about turning these things into dogmas. That's all. Because think about it for a second. If you take away all language, all words, all descriptions, and stay quiet, what is there? There is no ism. There is no philosophy. There is no spirituality. There is just nature. Yeah, there's just life. So life is energy, um, and it's something. Yeah, yeah. I find the abide as that very useful. I, the abide as that, I'm not sure what that is, but okay, abide as that is self-explanatory, I guess, because it's a real sense of abiding and magical stuff happens. However, this has consumed my life, and I don't seem to be able to hang in there long enough. Yeah. See, the issue is not some magic that you find. The issue is the thinking that you're here, and abide as that is there. Yeah, it's something to do to get you to a certain point of forever. it's a discrepancy we put on ourselves. Okay, and it comes back to the core of this whole the whole discussion of the topic of any hindrance to freedom, which is the natural state already. And that hindrance is only what could what we're calling quote unquote ego, yeah, the concern with how others see me. So if there's no, if the natural blueprint, which all our senses are intact, yeah, that's the outer senses as we know them, seeing, hearing, and so on, but also in a metaphorical understanding, I guess, like the sense of dignity, the sense of self-respect, the sense of justice, all these things are also, we also come with those senses. So because of this edifice of humans at the top of things, of evolution, yeah, and everything else underneath it, there's like a discrepancy. So it's like a divorce from the natural flow of things. It's an artificial edifice. It's edifying humans above other things. Yeah. So these other things include the stream of life. So literally, that's the separation. Yeah, which isn't really there, but which we've constructed. We painted a picture as if there is a separation, and this haughtiness of humans engenders in each individual human, let's say, a drive to suffice to this legacy of humans, yeah, to become a good person, to become a special person, to pursue some kind of heights, be it career or otherwise. So, and the root of that is the, yeah, there's lots of ins and outs about it. So this divorce, let's say, seeming divorce from nature is the divorce from our own nature. Yeah. So where that stream is kind of where we're not in touch with that, then we start to get ambition about enlightenment or abide as that or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, of course you can keep asking anything you want. Is there an energetic component in the body which some people call chi or kundalini? Is this real, and did it happen to you like an energetic activation? Yes, of course. Chi or kundalini, it's the life energy. Yeah, it's not some component in the body. It's the energy. It's the life energy, literally that which nourishes us. And it's not something that happens to anyone. It's something that we have, like ears and noses and eyes. So it would be like you asking me, did eyes happen to you? Yeah. So there is no energetic activation. If whatever people mean when they talk about that is that the the stream of energy has become so suppressed that it needs some kind of activation, some kind of like firing up. Yeah. If we live our life very very much in our head, and yeah, like most people in the world do actually, because thinking is thought of as the prime thing in humans. It's what defines us as, yeah. So that creates a lot of problems and suppresses energy, or makes it, I guess, behave in adverse ways, like create illness and things like that. So if the energy is kind of faint, then maybe an activation happens, which would be just like a what is it called? Like a defibrillator, you know? It's just a life energy as it is anyway. Do you think that this entire existence is non-physical? Um, that's one of those things. It's you can argue it this way, you can argue it that way. So everything is it's like science. You can refer to science to answer this kind of question. Yeah, like just as much as you can refer to other things. Scientists understand now that matter is basically energy, right? Compressed. Maybe they still think it's 99.99999. I don't know. I don't know much about it, but uh, energy is the building block of everything. So, yeah, you could say that's non physical, but you also can't really say that the physical doesn't exist in an absolute sense. It would be both if you want to argue it. But it's just mental stimulation, this kind of stuff. For me, it definitely forced its way through blockages up until the top of the head. It's just that I couldn't finish it when things got rough. Do you recognize that someone can call it quits and fail? Is It's just that I couldn't finish it when things got rough. It's not you finishing anything or starting anything. Uh, that's got to be seen. Um, yeah, I mean, like any kind of help or insight or glimpse or thing like this can, of course, be and often is held back by doubts and fears and trying to control something. So, do you recognize that someone can call it quits and fail? Sure, but again, it's got to be clear what it means. Yeah, what quits. So you can call it quits to try and pursue something like any kind of ambition, enlightenment, or any other kind of ambition. Yeah. So you can call that quits, which would be only beneficial, or calling life quits. Yeah. Giving up, like a loss of will. So, yeah, that can happen. Is there any method of meditation you suggest? No. Anyone you like in particular? Yeah, there's a few people I know that I like. Friends and family. And why don't you prefer meditating? Any reason? Um, no, it's just something that some people like to do and some people don't. It's just what accords with you naturally. Yeah. Some people like playing music. Other people don't. They don't have anything to do with that. Some people like trading on the financial market. Others don't. Some people like meditating. Nothing wrong with it at all. But really, what it is like this is already meditation. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're back. Can we talk about quelling thoughts or letting them go by without judgment? Sure, we can talk about it. What do you want to talk about it? Staying in a way that thoughts constantly come up and leave as they want. Papa G spoke about this, and he spoke that in one instant of time you can awaken if you keep quiet and don't think. Yeah. Uh, and you can see the old footage of people awakening, like having lots of laughter and freedom. It happened for me too. It just feels like it left and doesn't come back. So, so a big like uh, wow moment like that. It comes to free us. Yeah. Um, Different things can happen. It can be a There can be a seizing it, a claiming it, which happens all too often, which has happened to a lot of the people who speak on YouTube about this subject. that now they've claimed this. Now I'm awake, I'm free, I'm whatever. Yeah, it's a very delicate thing, this kind of glimpse. Yeah, if we if there's no claiming of it like that, then it can run its course naturally and get sort of fill things out. Yeah. But also this kind of big relief, let's say, it's not sustainable. Like you don't stay in a state of bliss. Shit happens in life. Yeah. So it's not that if we live completely without any kind of this ego that we've been talking about, that there isn't going to be a feeling of up and down. Yeah. It's just the nature of things, especially because we're dealing with this systematic world. Yeah. Human created things which are jarring very often. Yeah. So yeah, this pursuit to make this last, some kind of bliss, that's really false. And because I guess it's not made easier because historical figures such as the Buddha have been depicted to now live in some permanent state of bliss. It's a quiet thing. It's the end of a sense of lack. Okay, but that has to sink in, as it were, because we're born into a world which is where we're taught lack. Yeah, from that we don't have. Yeah, we're taught lack from the beginning, from early childhood. So from when we're born, sometimes even from before, we're already informed. Let's say in pregnancy. Um, so it has to sink in, and that can only happen is if a glimpse isn't hijacked, you could say. Yeah, to make me another thing to make me look special. Yeah. So, hey Molly, how are you doing? Nice, and I'm glad to say that Molly, that like I find that the people that I get to communicate and talk about this subject with here are not the kind of non-duality fanatics. You know what I mean? So I'm very happy about that, grateful for it, because that's just a big waste of energy.